3 settings that you need to know about photos and videos. Catch my flow. 3 settings that you need to know. 3 settings that you need to know. And that is aperture, shutter speed, and ISO. Just so you know. Catch my flow. Here we go. Okay. I can't help it. Jay Elliott and his beats make me want to flow and freestyle all day, every day. 3 settings can be applied to this camera or your point and shoot if it has manual capabilities. So the manual settings on your camera allow for you to customize the final product. And photography and video is all about lighting. It's all about capturing light. Those 3 components combined with lighting, and I have a video on lighting right here. You can watch it at the end. Now the first thing we're gonna go over is aperture. The aperture is the opening in this lens that allows the light to come in. So the aperture is indicated by the letter F. Don't ask me why, it just is. And apertures can start anywhere from 1.2 all the way up to 22. The bigger the opening, the more light can come in. The smaller the opening, the less light can come in. These geniuses, whoever invented cameras and all that stuff, it's hot in here, decided that we're going to label it and confuse people. The smaller the opening, the bigger the number. The bigger the opening, the smaller the number. So if you are limited in light, i.e. you are shooting at night or you are shooting in low light situations, you want your aperture to be wide open, which means you would probably go somewhere in the ballpark of 1.2, in there, somewhere around there. If it is super bright outside, so you want the aperture to be smaller, which means the f-stop is going to be bigger, 11, 16. Now you guys are gonna play around and figure out what's the best aperture for you and your lighting conditions. But here are 3 examples with different f-stops, okay? So wide open, which means it's super bright, aperture way closed, super dark. And we're in the middle. This is ideal lighting conditions. So your camera's aperture is also responsible for the depth of field. Fancy words, ladies and gentlemen. Depth of field is the distance between the nearest and furthest object in a scene. Now, how is depth of field important to you? You know when you see those images where the person is in focus and the background is completely thrown out of focus? Shallow depth of field. And in order to achieve that, you need to make your aperture wide open. Gotta open it all the way up, which means you need a small f-stop, around 1.2, 1.8, 2, it depends on the situation, but you wanna open it right up. And what that will do is put your subject in focus and the background out of focus. For example, I'm gonna insert my homegirl, that trick Jackie, so the distance between herself and the grass. And vice versa would happen. If you close the aperture hole right down to an f-stop of say 11 or higher, or even 5. So you'll see in this insert, Jackie and the grass are both in focus. Does that make sense? I use this when I am doing interior photography. Trying to sell a room, I'm trying to sell a home, the whole thing. I want everything in focus. High f-stop to have everything in focus, because everything is a focal point. Does that make sense? Are you confused yet? So this is an awesome trick and tip for people who have manual settings on your camera, because you can't do this with a point and shoot automatic camera. Now moving on, there's shutter speed. How fast or how slow the shutter stays open for the light to hit the sensor that's in this camera. So the shutter speed is measured in terms of seconds, more commonly fractions of seconds, and this is when math is important. We're going to talk about the denominator. So the higher that denominator, the faster the shutter speed. If it's super slow motion, then the light has more time to hit the sensor. Does that help? In photo video land, 1 second is uber long. If someone is running, for example, you need to snap them really fast. You need to catch them in the action really fast. So you want a fast shutter speed. Fast is 1/1000th of a second. Slow is 1 second. When would you use a shutter speed of 1 second? Or even slower? You know those sparklers when you want to catch it in slow motion, or even like the car lights, you know that effect? That would require you to slow down the shutter speed. But when you slow it down, that also means more light can hit the sensor, at which point you need to adjust the aperture. So it's all about balancing the aperture and the shutter speed, that you get a combination of numbers that work for that particular environment. So the shutter speed can be responsible for capturing the speed of a moving object or how much light you want in your photo. I'm here, let's use me as an example. The shutter speed can also dictate how much light comes in. So again, shutter speeds. Now the third and final tip is ISO. The ISO is a measure of light sensitivity on the camera sensor. I might be wrong. But anyways, what you need to know about ISO is you want that number down. You want ISOs in the ballpark of 100, 200, 400. Anything higher starts to create noise, digital noise. So you'll notice when it's dark and you are filming or even taking a photo, there's a lot of grain, a lot of digital noise. That's the ISO. The only time you're gonna make that number go high is if you've done everything with the aperture and the shutter speed to try to compensate for more light, but you still are not able to get enough light into the lens. Then you would start to mess around with the ISO and bump it up high, but you wanna stay away from high ISO settings if you can. If you can't, then you go there and then you deal with the noise and the grain, and then you use filters and apps and all that sort of stuff to get rid of the grain. So I hope that was a whole lot of fun. Beat by Jay Elliott. Not my cousin Jay, my producer Jay. They both flip, they both mad talented. Work that lens trick. Work it out. Show me what you got. Take off your cap. Don't do that ever. Okay, guys. Let me know. Catch my flow. Comment below. See you in my next music video. Video. I'll see you in the next video. Okay. Love you, boo. Do you, be you. Stay true. Okay. Hair flips. Phantom hair symptom.